everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing a very small piece on the Mars Lumograph Aquarelle pencils. These come in a blister pack. I have them here on my left, a 4B, 8B and a 6B. It comes with a nice little paintbrush. I'm going to be using my Tombow to lift, and I have a piece of kneaded eraser. I have a piece of sandpaper because I'm going to show you what I do with sanding onto the actual paper and using water with a paintbrush. We'll just see what effect we get. I also have a piece of 300 gram 100% cotton paper underneath this 160 gram Fabriano paper that I always use for my drawings. I've chosen this particular photograph from Unsplash. It's simple. It's in black and white, which is obviously good for pencil drawings, and it has this awesome reflection here, which we are going to try and do. So let's see what we can achieve with this. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 4B, that is the lightest one that we have here, and let's sand some onto here. Let's see what we get. I forgot to bring my blender over here with me, so I shall just be popping behind me to pick that up off of my supplies. So if you just give me a moment, I'll be back. Right, I have my blender. Let's see what we can produce as a background here. I love anything, experimenting with anything, as you know. I don't put enough experimentation on my YouTube channel, but I do on my Facebook and my Instagram. The link is in the bio of my YouTube channel. So if you'd like to follow me, please go ahead and do so. And the reason for my doing this as a YouTube clip is because somebody who picked up that I'd used this and done this and posted a photograph on my Facebook page asked me about it, and I promised them that I would do a YouTube tutorial on it. So here we go. Wish me luck, because I have not used these a lot. I've just experimented once with them, but there's nothing wrong with learning and seeing what they can do. So let's have a look and see what they produce. So you can see how much they spread. I mean, just from that little bit of sanding of the actual barrel of the graphite onto the paper. I have a very, very big area here. And the only thing with water, obviously, is the drying time. So that's going to take a little bit of time, but let's see what we can achieve here. I'm just going to get a piece of cotton wool because I just want to get rid of as many of these strokes that I have on here as possible. I would prefer a smoother background. It'll take me quite a while to do it with a blending stick on here, and I think you'll just all get bored out of your tree with it. So there's already something that we can all learn, is that the blending stump does give you quite a bit of texture. And I'm just hoping that this hasn't pushed too much of the graphite into the paper, that we can still lift. So let's have a look and see. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm thinking of using my Tombow and lifting out some of these water reflections that we have here. Well, not water reflections, but the highlights of where the light is hitting the water. We have quite a bit of a dark bit at the top here, which is lovely because that gives us our horizon line. We have this beautiful bird. I'm not sure what bird it is, but if you have a look here, it's got fine feathers that are on the edge of its wing. I think an eagle has that, I'm not too sure. But it's absolutely beautiful. Then we have this broken dark reflection of it in the water itself. So let's have a look and see. I'm just going to place this over here. so that you have it in the actual frame. Let's see. Oh, this is lifting beautifully. Look at that. What an amazing product. I'm going to come down here because I can see that there's a lot of reflection. Let me continue. We will put the bird in. I'm going to see if it will work by putting the bird in and on top of it, and then going over with the water. So here where the bird is, you can see that there's quite a bit of reflection showing. So I just want to try and lift that out. So one could probably lay a lot less of the graphite down before rubbing it into the paper, but this is working quite nicely. I'm very, very happy with what I'm getting here. You can see that this goes across. My Tombow is getting a little bit saturated with graphite, but that's also fine. Oh, I think this is just superb. I don't know what all of you think, but for me, I think that this is gorgeous. I just want to get a straight line across the horizon line here. Whenever you read things on Facebook, when people have commented on people's water drawings, they always say to you, you know, that the horizon line is straight. Well, here in South Africa, you have the most amazing rolling waves happening out at sea, and we definitely do not have a straight horizon line. We have quite a bumpy one, but I'm not going to get into that now. That's the sea. This looks like it could be a lake. Okay, move my pencils onto this side so I can keep this in your vision if you are following along. I'm going to take the 4B again, and I'm just going to put in this little bit of darkness across the top here. That could be the start of across the other side of the lagoon. I'm going to say it's a lagoon, and then I'm just going to put in this little bit of dark that goes across here. Okay, so the wing goes out into the across the actual horizon line, and we have quite a nice angle here. So I'm going to try and get that. I'm going to use the 8B. I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to start with those wing pieces, those wing feathers, should I rather say, that are showing on the end there. Comes across. And as you know, with everything I do, freehand. I love freehand. So it doesn't always come out as much as, you know, as great as I would like it, but that is what freehand is all about. And I encourage you to do as much as you can in freehand, because it really does accelerate your drawing. Very, very quickly. I love this tail that comes out at the bottom here. So I have a feeling that I have not quite got this into perspective here. I'll measure that and I'll measure that wing. That one's slightly shorter. Let me just measure this wing and measure that one. That's fine. And those are the feet. Okay, here comes the magic. So now this reflection is quite a bit distance down from where this bird is. And you can see that the opposite is happening in the reflection. So where that wing is away from us, it's the closest to us here. So we need to get that right. So let's give it a bash. Right, now the magic starts. We're going to apply the water. I have a jar of water here on my right hand side. Let's get that paintbrush going and let's see what we achieve. I'm going to start on this side. You can see that the water is picking up the graphite and moving it around. I'll do the bird last. And if I remember correctly, when I did the first experiment that I was trying out, I could lift with a piece of paper towel. I don't want to drag the bird across the water. Let's see what we can get here. We can add graphite to this afterwards, obviously. So it's not as if it's one layer and we're done. The one thing that I have noticed with this water-soluble graphite though is that if you let it dry or you don't go in with water around, you know, certain parts of it, it does dry with a bit of an edge. So do be aware of that. You can see it's already starting on this side here. I am going to go into this bottom bit here because I do want this to run into the graphite that I've laid down, seeing as it's a reflection. I'm going to go over it because I see that my pencil lines are still quite prevalent there. And it looks like, okay, so we're going to have to go over that, and that's fine. This is how we learn. Let's start up here with the bird. Oh, look at that. Look at that beautiful deep tone. And I have gone out. I'm just going to try and lift that. There we go. And that does look gorgeous. I mean, that really does look gorgeous. Let's put some artistic license in here. Let me just get this wing. I seem to be having trouble with that wing. That's fine. We'll sort it out. I'll just lift a little bit. Okay, so let's have a look and see what happens when we add into this. So in other words, lay on top of this water. I want to get this wing back. That's gorgeous. That really is gorgeous. So it works well on the wet. I just want to lift this here. See if, yep, here we go. Great stuff. So you can clearly see that you can get quite a nice little bit of detail on the wet without it spreading too much. Oh, this is really lovely. So let's go back into this because this reflection is not really showing as much as I'd like it to. There we go. We have our reflection, which is much, much deeper where the body is, obviously, because that is the larger part of the bird. Okay, I'm going to go back into the wings. Just want to get a bit of a smoother look. So this paper, which is 160 gram Fabriano, excuse me, drawing paper, you can see that it's taken a little bit of a beating because I have drawn on top of wet. So you can see here it's taken a bit of a beating and it's actually coming off. But that's fine. I mean, it is drawing paper. It's not meant to take a lot of water, and I have put quite a lot of water on it. I'm going to go back over here just to get those water reflections. Oh, okay, so where it is very, very wet, you can see here, it's laid down quite a bit, but that's okay because that seems to have a bit more there. And where it's partially dried, it's picking up a really nice texture and does look like water. So that's quite nice to know that you can, there you can see it's very, very wet there. Quite nice to know that you can go back over it. You just need to be aware of where it's wet. So that I don't like because that's now taken away the reflection of the bird, and that you don't want. So there we go, easy peasy. I've gone back into it. It has damaged the paper. I can see that it has damaged the paper, but I can literally lift that off and get back to where we want to be. This we can take out with the brush and we have our reflection. So there we have it. This is on drawing paper. I am going to give the 100% cotton paper a bash now. That looks pretty good, I think. Let's do the same exercise on here. So starting with the 4B. This time I'm going to draw it in rather than use the sandpaper and see what I get, because this should spread even more. This should be able to take more water, obviously being watercolor paper. I just want to see what I get. I am leaving white, as they say you should do with watercolor paper. Let's see what we get. I'm just going to put a little bit in there. So horizon line, let me get that straight. So that, oops, I didn't quite want it as, but that's fine because we can go in darker there so that it gives us the impression of something else over on the other side of this piece of beautiful water. Right, let's go. Let's put our bird in, putting it in with the 8B. So we have these, comes down. Go in like that. Those are feathers, as we can clearly see on this. It's an amazing photograph, I have to say. I just want to make sure that I haven't got the wing longer on this side. Nope, it's perfect. Using the side of the pencil, I have shown you this technique before with the Mars Lumo graphite, so you should not be lost while doing this at all. Going down into the body, and then the tail, and then we've got these cute little feet that are sticking out. Okay, let's put some water on it. You can see that I've left a lot of white paper here at the bottom. Just want to see what we get with the reflection. Let's go in with some water and see what magic we get here. This is, remember, this is 300 gram 100% cotton paper. So this will give us a completely different feel to the Fabriano drawing paper. This should stay wetter for longer as well. I am going across, I do know, and I should not be, because we're trying to get those water reflections in. So let me stick to the program and go across. I don't want to confuse everybody who hasn't worked with this before, because as soon as you start going across, you will get streaks the wrong way of what the way that the reflections are going, which is what you don't want. So, and you can move this around. You can see here that I am moving this graphite around. I can move it up and I can move it down. I can even take it across here, further across. But you do need to keep going with the water reflections and not the opposite way like I just did. So please ignore me. Do as I say and don't do as I do. Isn't that a famous saying? Okay, let's take that over there. I'm going to do the bird last because I don't want to carry the 8B into the 4B reflections, or into the water, should I say. Okay, now this should be interesting because this reflection should run like I was hoping it would on the Fabriano. So let's see. Yep, there we go. Look how beautiful that is. So there is the difference immediately. There is the difference between using 300 gram 100% cotton paper as opposed to drawing paper. And obviously it's going to react differently because it's cotton and it's for watercolor, for water. So it is going to run exactly how you want it. Look at this beautiful reflection that we've got here. We will be able to go back into it. You can see that this is spreading into where it's wet on wet here, which is perhaps not quite what we want, but for this video, because I just want to give you an idea, and we can't wait for it to dry, and I don't believe in using a hairdryer. I am just going to lift it out. And this, in fact, this is showing you exactly how you can fix stuff as well. It's not all cast in stone, and you must never ever believe what people say to you. Just experiment, like I say. I'm a great experimenter, and this is how I learn. And honestly, anything can be fixed. It really can be. You can see here that I've got some pieces of eraser on here for some reason. I'm not sure where that has come from. So I lift it out. Right. So we can go back in here with the 8B and get our form back. And it shouldn't run as much as what just happened now with the water. It might run a bit here. But isn't that stunning? Doesn't that give you a whole nother area to investigate with pencils? It's just beautiful. I'm not liking these thick wings, feather wings I've given it here at the end, so I'm just removing that. And did you see what I did? Let me show you what I did, because I didn't explain it. I've put water down, and this being 100% cotton, you can then lift it and it's virtually gone. That. You can see I put my hand down here. I want to show you what happens when you put your hand on wet and it does leave a print. All you do is you streak it out. We have got water reflections here, so we are lucky with this, but you can literally lift it out. Oh, it's much better. You can do the same thing here. On this side, I was really keen on what I've done there. And we can put it back in again. And the one thing I want to tell you about the drying time, which I know is obvious, and I'm telling you something that you will all know. So depending where you live, depending on humidity, all kinds of weather factors that come into it, depends on how it dries. I'm going to put a little bit more water down on there because I see that this has become saturated with graphite, and I do want a darker bird here. I do love this, I have to say. It's something that is so nice to add to your supplies. And why shouldn't we have supplies? So again, as with the 160 gram paper that we just drew on, you can add into these reflections. You can see that it's going down very nicely because the paper is wet. Just take them out and spread it a little bit, because that is what happens in water. A reflection is not static and it does move around, so you need to let your reflections show that. We can go in here and just put in a little bit of detail, as if we have a bush across the water going on. You don't have to. You can leave your bird as it is. I'm actually going to lift some of this out so that we have a, when I say lift, I'm talking about taking it out with a brush. Be careful of your bird, because it will end up dispersing into the water that you're putting down. There you go. Put some more water streaks in here, so you can actually lift from your background, which is here, and put in some more water streaks on this that you are working on. Let's try to put in some very light 4B streaks on top of what we have done. So I want to see what the effect is. And remember to keep it organic. So run across the paper. Don't sit in one area and just work. There is movement in water, so when I say to keep it organic, I mean show that there is movement. And you can see that I'm taking this very, very lightly across the actual paper itself. I'm not being careful as to what that I'm keeping it absolutely straight. When I say direction, I am making sure that I'm keeping it in the direction of the reflections, but I am taking the pencil backwards and forwards across to keep that organic feel of water. And there are some areas that have less reflection, or should I say it might be a cloud that is sitting in that area, so you do have more shadow, so we can put some more depth into that. And the paper seems to be dryish, so it's picking it up quite nicely, and it's not laying down a huge amount of graphite, which is exactly what I'm looking for. Giving some nice detail here. Okay, well, there we go. I'm fairly happy with that, I must say. I think that this is a lovely, lovely product. I think it's going to give everybody a lot of joy who invest in it. Beautiful. Get that 8B, puts a bit more depth into here. Okay, so you can see that this is saturated with water, and this pencil is struggling to, but that is natural, that is normal, because it is graphite, albeit that it is water soluble. So you just need to be aware of that and just practice, because practice will help you and show you exactly what it can do and what it can't do. And there you can see that I've got a lot of water in that area still. There we have it. Bird reflection on a lake. I hope you've all enjoyed this. I hope I've shown you something that you will perhaps go out and try. Yeah, have a look at the Staedtler range. It is a very, very nice manufacturer, and you honestly, you cannot go wrong with purchasing any of their products. They deliver what they say they're going to deliver. Have an awesome day, everybody. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.